Thank you. Today is Thursday, March 14th, 2024. It is 3 p.m. This is a public meeting held under Section 34 of the Planning Act. Is declared open. The applications on the public meeting agenda today are for public consultation purposes only and will be addressed at the future council meetings. We have some people in the audience here with us today, and I'd ask you, if you have cell phones, if you could just turn them on to mute, please. Thank you. And for our people on Zoom, just want to confirm once again that you can hear me.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll ask staff to please confirm that the required notice was given for subject applications in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. Kristen?
Thank you. I can confirm that the required notice for the application on today's agendas were given in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act.
Thank you. All those present at the public meeting will have the opportunity to speak in favor or in opposition of to the applications. Any or all comments, information submitted, whether orally or in writing, including identifying information, becomes part of public record and could be made publicly available at any point, including on township website, other electronic forms of publication in accordance with the Planning Act requirements. Any person wishing to receive notice of the decision regarding the applications being considered must send an email request to the township office immediately following this meeting, and in all cases must be received prior to the date of the decision of the council matter. Pursuant to the provisions of the Planning Act, the rights and limitations of appeal of the Ontario Land Tribunal with respect to the decision of council on the applications are as follows. A person or public body may file an appeal with the Ontario Land Tribunal within 20 days of issuance of the notice of decision. The person or public body must submit the required form to the appeal of the township, which shall include the required information and the explanation of the reason for the objection of the decision, in addition to paying the required fees as set out by the Ontario Land Tribunal Act. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make a written submission to the township in respect to the applications before the approval authority passes or refuses to pass the proposed amendments, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there is reasonable grounds to do so. Thank you. At this time, I will ask staff to please describe the purpose and effect of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment related to file number Zulu Bravo 2306.5, submitted by Angus Evendine, and summarize the written comments received. I will ask, I believe it is Jessica Reed from Echo View to address this, please.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Chair and Council. My name is Jessica. I am here on behalf of EcoView Consulting, who is representing the planners for the Township of Greater Madawaska. The application you have before you has been submitted for a property known municipally as 4537 Madawachan Road and known legally as part of Lot 23, Concession 5 in the geographic Township of Madawachan and the Township of Greater Madawaska. The lands subject to the application are approximately 29.5 hectares or approximately 73 acres with approximately 650 meters of frontage on Madawachan Road and are currently vacant. The application proposes to rezone a portion of the subject lands from the extractive industrial reserve zone to the rural zone in order to permit the construction of a single detached residential dwelling. Currently, the proposed area where the house is to be located is zoned extractive industrial reserve, which does not permit residential uses in the form of a detached dwelling. At this point in time, we have not received any public comments or objections to the application, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Does the applicant or their representative wish to speak in regards to the application? There's none seen. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the amendment? There's none seen. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the amendment? There is none seen. Are there any comments from members of council? There are none seen. Thank you. I will ask staff to please describe the purpose and effect of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment related to file number Zulu Bravo 2306.6 submitted by Xander Plan Inc. on behalf of Calabogie Land Development Inc. and summarize any written comments received. Kristen, will that be you or Echo View this time? That will be Kristen. Thank you.
Thank you. So this zoning bylaw amendment is for the lands located in part of Lot 22, Concession 12 in the geographic township of Bagot. The purpose of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is to accommodate a proposed residential subdivision having county file number 44T22004 and 44T22005, which includes 52 residential lots with 3 stormwater management blocks, as well as to expand the existing environmental protection areas. I will note in the notice, it did say 49 residential lots, but it's actually 52, so that was an error on my part. The subdivision has received draft approval, and it was received on September 26th, 2023. And approval of the zoning bylaw amendment is a draft condition. The effect of the proposed amendment is to rezone the severed lands from rural to rural residential exception, which will be the lots requiring reduced frontage, and implementing the supporting study recommendations. They'll also be rezoned to expand the environmental protection, which is the wetland ripen areas, and rezoned to community facility, which will be the stormwater management blocks. So within the rural residential exception zone, certain lots will have reduced frontages, specifically reduced from 45 meters down to 38 meters. Additional exception provisions relate to the recommendations contained in the supporting studies, which include conditions for fencing not being able to be permitted in the easements for stormwater management and restricting development of the lots to single detached dwellings with a maximum of 3 bedrooms. It's important to note that the appropriateness or policy conformity of the subdivision is not being reevaluated through this zoning bylaw amendment application. Rather, we are implementing the conditions of the subdivision that has received draft approval. And we have not received any written comments or objections to this zoning bylaw amendment application. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the applicant or the representative wish to speak in regards to this application? None seen at this time. Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of this amendment? None seen. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to this amendment? None seen. Are there any comments from members of council? Councillor Thompson?
Was there someone who wanted to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Debating.
Just a question.
If you can go up to the mic and state your name, and is the mic on? Okay. And my apologies, I didn't see your hand up.
No, it's okay. My name is Joe Moore. I'm from Eganville. I'm part owner of the lot, lot 2212, the east one. And it's just, some of this I don't understand, and it's probably all good. What is the 38 meters versus 45 meters? Is that from, I don't understand. What is that? Does that mean it's coming onto our property?
No, so what essentially is happening is we have requirements in each zone for frontage. So technically in the rural residential zone, each property is required to have a minimum of 45 meters of frontage onto an improved road. Okay. So what we're doing is essentially we're reducing it to 30 meters, and that's more for the cul-de-sac properties because you're not going to have a full 45 meters of straight frontage, so it needs to be reduced to accommodate that.
Okay, so that's got nothing to do. Okay. That's basically it. I don't know whether I answer this to you guys. I got this package here, and it states the drawing of where the line is between, I think it's yours and ours. And about 18 years ago, I had somebody run that line for us, which knew what he was doing. And so I called the surveyor yesterday that did the surveying, and he said, right on the money. So satisfied with the line. So I have no other questions.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. And now, if there's no other, if I haven't missed anybody else on for or opposed, okay, and now I will go to council. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions. I see that you on the title, there'll be a limit of 3 bedrooms, right? Because of the water availability of well water, correct? Just want to make sure I heard it right.
I don't know the exact reasoning, but yes, it was a condition that was, that I believe it came from, I want to say the hydrogeological evaluation, yeah, and terrain analysis, I think it was, yeah.
Now, on that as well, they said there couldn't be coach houses either because of the same issue with not enough water. Is that in there as well?
So that's addressed through the single detached family dwellings with a maximum of 3 bedrooms.
Right, so
Yeah.
that covers no coach
exactly.
houses. Okay. I have a little bit of a concern with the fact that in the opening, it said that there are going to be paths everywhere. I'd ask that question where the paths are. And, you know, they called it a walkable community. And there's no way you can be in the community, even access the bush around it without going back to Norton Road and around. So this was, you know, the justification for making it a walkable community. So I'm wondering why it was in the preamble saying that this is how it complies with the provincial policy state, one of the ways, and what happened to it, if it was addressed at all.
Was the walking community, it was in like one of the supporting studies that was provided by the applicants, or?
It's was it the initial preamble talking about why things fit with the provincial policy statement 1.1.4, 1. Whatever, and in it, it said it is walkable because of these paths that connect to other trails. And I asked that question back in April, and I was basically told I don't know.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if anything's come of that.
No, I would say that we haven't included those essentially. It's not a part of the subdivision, these walkable trails. I believe private property encompasses almost the entirety of the land, so.
Right.
I'm just going to interrupt for 1 sec. Mr. Dick had his hand up to
Okay.
possibly answer your question, so I'd like to bring him in on it.
Hi, and I think what you're referring to is back in the meeting of February of 2023, and it was just certainly discussed. It did not make it to the approval round at draft round approval. So we have to either provide parkland or cash in lieu of parkland.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we've done is we've included a parking area on the southwest side. There's a parking area that has access to the 700 acres of crown in behind the property. And the roads themselves, and my partner here walks them every night, it's 1 mile around the roads. You do have to cross Norton Road, but the road is quite a nice walk.
Yeah.
But that particular, I know that there was discussion about the past, but
Right.
it didn't make it to the, there was quite a bit of discussion about it, but it wasn't a requirement on our behalf.
So just one side of Norton Road now will have access
So there's
to the surrounding.
700 acres on the one side, and
Right.
on the other side, there's private property owners on the other side. So we can't provide there's no walking trails there, it's private property. There's also an area of about 5 acres, and you're welcome to come out and have a drive around. The storm ponds, there are roads around them. I think they're zoned, Kristen, they're zoned public. Basically community facility. There are roads around
Right,
that
I've seen
it's gonna be quite nice. The pond, we have 3 ponds there with roads that go around. I'm guessing and I'm hoping that people walking their dogs will clean up after themselves when they're going through there, because there's gonna be a lot of people going through there, I think.
Yeah, we always hope.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you've got any other questions, I can stay here, but otherwise,
I have one other question.
Councillor Thompson?
I know when we had a conversation once, which was very good, because I have now a lot of faith, because of that conversation, a lot more faith than I had before, that all of the compliance, a lot of it to protect the environmental area relies on homeowner compliance. And I still have a bit of an issue with the recommendation of the environmental not to put fences, because then the deer could get in behind fences and that'll force them to the road and deer collisions. So I'm just wondering, is what part of the process, and this is probably for you or for Jessica, just what part of the process can that be addressed? If there's, will homeowners be required to tie up their dogs? Will their cats be able to look for the nests?
provide a net. So it'll be in the subdivision agreement that, you know, the environmental aspect is they don't want to, they don't want to disrupt the deer patterns and what have you, so they want to have fences. So it's not going to change any patterns of deer crossing the Northern Road. So it will be in the covenants that will form part of each agreement of purchase and sale with the purchaser, and we have an obligation to explain to them the rules and so on, also with the setbacks for the environmental protection zone. So we'll have that clearly marked out for them, so nobody puts a shed on it or whatever.
That's what I was hoping to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If nobody else got anything.
Councillor Popke, don't move, sir. He might be coming to you.
So these 700 acres on the Crown land, is there existing trails already on this 700 acres?
I don't know. I don't know if there is. Probably Clint, John, no.
Okay.
So that's owned by the Conservation Authority, not the Conservation Authority, the Natural Resources, MNR. So they were consulted through this process, and all that they wanted, and through the county and the municipality at the time, was that we provided a parking lot there. I don't think there's any real trails back there at all. The former planner in this municipality, I think, had some visions, and his vision was that he was going to work with the Ministry of Natural Resources to maybe put some sort of a trail network in there, but I'm not aware. Since Luke left this municipality, I haven't heard another word about that.
Okay.
But
Thank
I
you.
got another question then.
Supplemental, Councillor Popke?
In terms of hunting season, I imagine there's people that hunt these 700 acres through various private properties connecting to it. What's going to happen when there's a parking lot there and all of a sudden there's an influx of people walking these trails? Is there going to be like I know at Eagle's Nest, they put signs up, no hunting for the 2 weeks. The people don't follow the signs.
yeah.
And there's nothing worse than somebody out there hunting and a whole family comes walking through in the middle of the hunt. So
I hear you. And I'm a hunter myself. I mean, you're describing every property in Greater Madawaska here right now, that backs on houses, that back onto people's private land that they hunt. I mean, that's where we live. I mean, there are houses that back onto very common hunting areas everywhere here. So, and again, I mean, we would be willing to cooperate with whatever it is. It's not our jurisdiction. I don't even know whose jurisdiction that would be to put up any signs. So,
Yeah, I think what we're falling into this area of questioning is people using common sense and having an understanding of where they're moving into, and perhaps maybe some education about where they're moving into, and having an understanding of the hunting that goes on in this area and the tradition of hunting would have to be, they'd have to understand it. But as far as the developer and as far as our planners, we can't put anything up on M&R property. We would have to have conversation with them to see if they would allow any signage even. But in regards to all the crown land we have around here, I think it comes down to people having common sense. I don't walk my dog out there without being dressed all in orange, and I actually don't even go out there in hunting season because in my prior job, I wasn't too fond of having firearms pointed at me. So I don't think that's part of this conversation. It would need to be a bigger conversation about all the crown land in our in our township of educating people and putting signage up.
Okay.
We have had the question asked to us by potential buyers, and we're very upfront and say, like, people hunt right there. So, you know, I would either, you know, not walk through there during hunting season, just 2 weeks, you know, or follow the rules where there are orange or what have you, right? So that's all. We have the same thing with, we've got some severances up north in the road. People are looking at those lots. We have the same questions there as well. So we provide the same thing.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
I'm just wondering why only one side of the road? What's on the northeast side that, for connection to the bush?
Nothing, because it's private land.
It's all private land.
It's all private.
Okay.
We're completely surrounded by private land. There's people on one side, Redfield are on the other, and Redding's on behind us. So
Oh,
it's
I
all
see.
private. However, they can cross the road, like I say, it's a pretty nice walk. It's a 1.6 kilometer walk around the roads. So
I've driven it as far as it didn't look scary. But yeah, it's a beautiful spot, and it's just these, you know, the concerns to keep it, that it's a benefit to everybody, and we don't have any, we minimize any conflicts. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from council at this time? There are none seen. This therefore completes the public meeting process. Council will give careful consideration to the comments received on the applications before it. If there are no further comments or questions, none seen, I declare this public meeting closed at 3:22 p.m. Thank you all for your attendance, and don't forget to turn your cell phones back on. Thank you.